Welcome back to All Day Motivations. Check out these fresh stories from Reddit. AITAH for wanting to take a break from my wife after she screamed at me at Christmas in front of the other guests. My wife and I have been married for 10 years and we have 3 children aged 3, 5, and 8. A couple of nights ago, our family hosted the Christmas party where we invited siblings, parents, and grandparents. The party was going great and it was much needed for me after a long year at work. There were a lot of jokes cracked and I did get pretty drunk by the end. When I got up to go to the restroom, I accidentally dropped the glass of water and the glass broke. I knew my wife would be angry, but I immediately cleaned it up. However, after I was done cleaning, my wife asked me to come to the bedroom. At the room, my wife shouted really loudly at me. I could see she was really angry. She kept shouting about how she warned me not to get drunk at the party and things like that. I told my wife everyone could hear, and my wife didn't stop. She just kept shouting. However, when I apologized, my wife immediately stopped shouting, and she cooled down after that. When I got out of the room, it was obvious everyone had heard my wife screaming at me. It was really awkward, and I felt humiliated. They all left shortly after. When I woke up the next morning, my wife apologized a lot for the previous night and even broke down in tears. When she hugged me, I just left the bed and went to our children. Luckily, since we had put our children to sleep early the previous night, they did not hear the shouting. My wife apologized a lot the rest of the day, but I just felt dead inside. I told my wife I need some space from her. My only focus was our children and to ensure they had a good Christmas yesterday. However, at the end of the day, when I went to sleep on the couch, my wife was begging me and crying a lot to come on the bed. I told my wife to just give me some space. I told her up front that I'm losing feelings for her by the minute, and the more she tries to force it, the more I feel like I just want to consider divorce. I've never used the divorce word ever, and I never thought I would. But that's where my head's at right now. AITAH. AITAH for not letting my now ex keep the car I bought for her. I, 35M, was in a 5-year-long relationship with a woman, 30F. I have 2 kids from a previous relationship, 15F and 13F. She has a son, 8M, from a previous relationship. We lived together for about 4 years. A year into us living together, she was hit by an uninsured driver. She did not have uninsured motorist coverage at the time. I took my savings and bought a car. The car is titled solely in my... The car is titled solely... She has used the car as her primary vehicle ever since. For 2 years, we tried having a child together. Eventually, but it resulted in a miscarriage. I decided afterwards that I did not want to try again for a kid. She did. I decided to have a vasectomy. Prior to having it, she told me if I did it that she would break up with me. I went through with it and she broke up with me. After the breakup, she moved out. I told her that I will let her use the car for a couple of months. I reached out to her after a couple of months. She begged to keep the car. I told her no. She said it is the only way for her to get to work and she really cannot afford a car payment. I understand, but it is my vehicle, which my daughter, who is turning 16 in a matter of months, could use. She reached out to my mom. They were quite close. She says I am an AH because I could afford to have her keep the car. For me, that is beside the point because it is still my car that I could use given my daughter will start driving soon. AITAH. AITAH for refusing to let my brother's fiancé wear white to my wedding. Advice needed, so I, 27F, am getting married in March to my fiancé, 28M. We're keeping the wedding fairly traditional, and I've been looking forward to this day for years. Here's where the problem comes in. My brother's fiancée, Emily, 25F, approached me at our family Christmas gathering and casually mentioned that she found the perfect dress for my wedding. She pulled up a picture on her phone, and it was a full-on white gown. Not off-white or cream, straight-up bridal white. I was a little taken aback and said, "Oh, Emily, I don't think that'll work. Brides usually wear white, and it might confuse people." She kind of laughed it off and said, "It's fine. I'm not trying to upstage you or anything. I just love how I look in white." I told her I'd prefer if she found something else, but she brushed me off and said, "It's your day. No one's going to mistake me for the bride." I brought this up with my brother, and he got defensive, saying I'm making a big deal out of nothing and that Emily is just being herself. He also accused me of being insecure if I think people will actually think she's the bride. I'm honestly upset. I don't want a confrontation. But I feel like it's common knowledge not to wear white to a wedding unless you're the bride. My fiance agrees with me, and so does my mom. But my brother and Emily are acting like I'm a control freak. I told Emily again, nicely, that she's welcome to come in any other color, but wearing white is a no-go. She rolled her eyes and said she didn't understand why I was being so uptight about it. Now I'm wondering if I'm overreacting. So, AITAH for sticking to this boundary? AITAH for telling my friend's husband about her secret savings account? I, 34F, have been best friends with Laura, 32F, for over a decade. Recently, she confided in me that she has been secretly saving money in a separate account without telling her husband, Mike, 35M. She said it's her emergency fund because she doesn't fully trust him with money matters, and she wants to have a safety net just in case. Laura and Mike have been married for 8 years and have 2 young kids. Mike is a good guy, but he can be a bit careless with money, often spending on things they don't need. Laura has always been the more responsible one when it comes to finances. A few weeks ago, Mike approached me and asked if I knew why Laura seemed to be acting distant and secretive about their finances. He seemed genuinely worried and thought something might be wrong. I felt really torn, but I ended up telling him about Laura's secret account. Now, Mike is furious with Laura, and their relationship is strained. Laura is also furious with me for betraying her trust. She says I had no right to disclose something she shared in confidence. I just thought Mike deserved to know the truth because it was causing him so much stress. AITAH.